Hey guys, welcome to Trash Fashion with Jack of Spades. My name is Jack. Thank you for stopping by and checking out the video. So it's been a minute since I've made anything, and this week I started working on a new project. It's a simple little diorama of a lunar landing or lander, and I'm using a styrofoam disc, as you can see here, that I melted some craters onto to give it that lunar look. And the way I melted these craters was by using, it's a little trick I came up with. I used little tiny rings made of cardboard or paper that not very thin, flammable, combustible paper, but very thick paper that lasts a few seconds under a flame without burning. Okay, or you can use plastic or whatever you want. As long as it can take a few seconds of heat, you're good. So anyway, I just placed these on top. I didn't do it to all of them, but I did do it to some of them. This one here in the center, I just placed it on top and I heat it up with a torch or a heat gun, and it melts the core of the crater, the center of the crater melts, and the outside of the crater melts, but it leaves that little ridge, which casts a nice little shadow, kind of like what you would see on a real moon, as far as shadows go. It does kind of cast that little shadow. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but trust me on this, it makes a nice little shadow. Depending on where the light source is coming from, it looks good. So anyway, this is just styrofoam right now. There's no sealant on it or anything. I'm just going to put it aside, and I'm going to show you guys what's going to be parked on that lunar surface. So before I get into showing you the project that I glued together already, I want to show you what I used to make it. I got my hands on 3 of these, okay? They were empties. My wife uses these all the time. I get the remains and I scavenged what I want from it. So from the 3 bottles that I've been collecting, I've taken 3 of these exactly identical, and I removed the shell, okay, and I removed the trigger here, and I removed the nozzle. So I have 3 of each of those pieces, okay? So there's 9 pieces in total. That's 3 of these here, 3 nozzles, and 3 of these, the shell. I call it the shell. Anyway, I also used 2 Easter eggs, a small Easter egg and a larger one. And I used the lid from a roll-on deodorant dispenser. The lid from the deodorant dispenser, since it was a roll-on, it had a dome-shaped lid, and I used that. And then I also used caps from CA glue bottles. My CA glue has these little cones for caps, and I just use them whole, or I split them down the middle, and I use them for projects. I also use some other bits and pieces that are just random and miscellaneous pieces that I came across in my junk box, and I'll explain those in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and show you now. This is what I put together. That's what the lander looks like. As you can see, it has a little door. The door does shut and it locks. Okay, it doesn't open. It takes a little force to pop it open. It actually locks. But yeah, here we go. There's these things here. I used 1 on each side here, and I put 3 of them on there. And the triggers I used for the landing gear. Now, for the landing gear, it still looks incomplete to me, and that's because I want to put some discs over here underneath each one, kind of like a foot. So I'm going to go ahead and do that after, right before I paint this, and you'll see that later on. Now, the nozzles, I popped them off. I cut away the like up to there. I just used the front portion of the nozzle. And I used a little bit of the back portion right here. And I'll show you where I use those. The nozzles, I just bored a hole through. That's the nozzles. And these are going to be windows. I have little domes that I'm going to glue on there. I'll show you one of them here. Got these little tiny domes, plastic domes. And I'm going to put one on each little window there. But I'm going to do that after I paint this. I don't want to damage the domes. So this ladder here, I had to add a couple of extra steps to it. It was from a Hess truck, fire truck, that was really damaged, and I just took off the parts and used them for greeblies. So yeah, that's where I got this little ladder, and I just added some extra bits because it was like a long way to climb on each step. So I made it shorter by adding more of these little pieces here that came from the very same ladder, so they blend right in. I also added these little bits here. You need some handles, some safety things. I added these little tiny rings right there. That's where you would put a tether. And these here are little thrusters, like to adjust the course to turn the ship, you know, little thrusters. And what I used was, I have this whole tub. I got this whole tub here of these little tiny beads. They're like little tubes and multicolored tubes that are hollow because they're used for beads. And I just glued one on each one there. Now, what happened here was there was a little triangle. As you can see, a little hole that was shaped like a triangle. And I just bored it round. Once I got a round hole on each one, I popped in these plastic pegs that I get, that I have. They're from that IKEA furniture that you assemble at home, and they give you little pegs to cover the screws, where the screws are. So yeah, I just popped those into there. I drilled a hole in the center of each one, and I glued on these little white tubes there to make it look like thrusters. Now the main thruster is down here on the rear of the ship, and that is just a olive oil bottle spout that I glued on there. And there's also another bit of plastic underneath that, which I can't show you right now unless I find one. Let's see if I have one here. Sometimes I have them laying around. But yeah, just bear with me for a second. Here we go, I found one. All right, so I have a bunch of these. These are from a children's toy. They were all stacked together, and they had a string in the center, and it made it like move like a snake. It was actually a fish, a whale, I believe, or something like that. And I just cut the string and removed all these little pieces here. And these are going to be great for making satellites and things of that nature. But yeah, I also found other ways to use it, as we all do. We always find ways to utilize things. And as you can see, this white one here is the same thing as this. Okay, so I just glued, this rests on the egg nicely. So I glued it down on top of that orange egg. And then I just added the this black piece here, which is the screw-on lid from a roll-on deodorant, which also has a dome on the top. Only I covered that dome with another piece of a smaller Easter egg. Okay, and these little cones here, right here, these little cones are from CA glue. It's the little cap, the bottle cap from the CA glue that I use. It's like a little cone. I just split them down the middle and glued them on. And then I cut this little bevel right there. I just thought it looked cool. Once it's painted, it's going to look nice. So yeah, the door has a little tiny, like a little tiny hose that goes in and out. goes into the hull, and then it comes back out, as you can see. I thought that was a cool touch. That's just a little copper wire that's coated in rubber, and then I put another tube over that. And I glued it on to this little red thing here, which was a claw from Lego, like a Lego piece. I found a little claw on the side of the road, and I pocketed it, and I used half of it here. So I took some shaving and trimming to get it right, but I was able to do it. And then you have like little rings here for tethers at the top of the stairs of the ladder. Naturally, you should have something to tether the astronaut to on these ships. Back here, I just used the remainder of the nozzle from the spray bottle. Whatever was left over, I trimmed it away and cleaned it up, glued it on here, and I put a little tiny bit of EVA foam with some other little tiny gems, rhinestones. I glued them on so it looks like buttons. Kind of like a little compartment with tools that you can access from the outside of the ship when you're outside. So let's see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, that piece that I mentioned, these here, there's one on the inside there, just behind this. Okay, it's actually like this, upside down, and it's up against the orange egg. The bottom of the orange egg is glued onto that. So it's kind of hard to see it, but that's what's in there. I also put a little platform here for the astronaut to step out and climb down. And I'm going to go ahead and put some discs under this. I think that's going to look good. This thing is just about ready for some primer. And I think I have some spray paint primer that's white. So I might just go ahead and paint it all white. And then I'll go ahead and start gluing the little extra bits to it. The little the domes, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of all that. I hope you guys stuck around to the end of this video. If you did, thank you so much. You guys rock. I love you guys. So catch me on the next video. I'm going to be showcasing how it looks once I'm done. And stay tuned for that.